Alright guys, I did a video about mixing up freehand. That seems to be a lot of people's problems. The other problem is saturation. If we were using flash lift, which I used to use for balayage, and I still do if needed for lift, it'd be very easy to go in here and bleed. And a lot of times I would go in with the side of my brush so I wouldn't get too much product on there. With the freehand, I really want to saturate it. I want to keep pushing that lightener in. If you go in with the side of your brush, you kind of see it's starting to actually remove product. We want to keep putting product in. All of that, and I'm still barely through her hair shaft. And I'm not through in most places. So I'm taking a pretty thin section. Now some other things I want to talk about with freehand. First off, making sure it's the right choice for you. It might not be. Not all the time is freehand what I use to balayage. Why? Because sometimes I want more than up to 6 levels of lift. This is only going to give me 6 levels of lift, which is fine. She's pretty light to begin with. I'm working on her natural hair. We're just trying to do some sun-kissed highlights. If I was working on somebody who's dark, freehand might not be for me. Also, if she was previously colored, if this wasn't her natural color, and she had a ton of artificial color in there, that's going to mess with that 6 levels of lift and bring it lower and lower. So that might be times that you know, just make sure freehand's the proper lightener that you want to use for the situation that you're in. Every client's different. Just making sure that's the correct lightener. Did you mix it correctly? I know I just did a video. Totally check that out. I'm sure there's somewhere on the screen right now you can click to watch that video. Make sure you're mixing it correctly with that 1 to 1.5 ratio and not adding too much developer. So many people are mixing it up wrong and adding way too much developer. The other thing is when I would apply flash lift, I had to really watch and make sure it didn't penetrate. This really doesn't want to penetrate. You really have to just keep bouncing. Bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. And you can see it's not all the way through. I put a ton of product. I put a ton of pressure. I'm not going light on this. I'm running my hands through so her ends get more product, but you can see there is still unsaturated areas. So if I was applying flash lift like this, I would be a hot mess. She'd be bleeding, she'd be spotty, but not with freehand. So if you're going about your freehand application the same way you want with your up to 7 or your flash lift or blend dimensions or any other traditional powder lightener, you're not going to get the lift you're wanting because you're not getting the saturation you want. So, all right. If you guys have any other questions, if flash lift's still not working for you, leave me a comment. We'll talk about it. All right. I'll see you guys later.